What is going on, everybody? I am a little behind on this video. It's been a crazy month. I was gone for 25 or 26 days, and a lot of you don't know this, but I've been actually camping in the back of my truck this year. I'm going to do that for the whole season. And I know it sounds crazy, but the convenience factor of it is phenomenal. Like, already just saved in 2 tournaments. I've saved hours and hours, and that extra time is huge, especially when you run out of daylight fast. And not only that, but it's a gas savings, it's a lodging savings, it's everything. But it's been working out actually really good. But basically, just stay at a campground and use my back of my truck as a tent, basically. And the only thing that got hairy was Florida. It got hot that one day, and it was hot. And I got some cheap air conditioner that it ain't gonna fly. I gotta get something different. So, and the mosquito thing, I gotta work on that too. But otherwise, it's been good. So 25 days I slept in the back of my truck after getting back here. So my daughter thought it was the Guinness Book of World Records, but I'm not buying it. So. And actually, from the looks of it down south, there's a lot of people that sleep in their back of their truck like all the time. But pretty sad, some of the stuff I've seen in the last month here. But getting to Lake Ouachita, Arkansas. So Okeechobee was a bomb for me, and even though I know I did a video on that, but after seeing some of these other videos that guys were doing. I definitely had the winning fish figured out there, and I just could not put them in the boat. I didn't know how to adapt to the Florida stuff. So, and the same thing kind of happened here in Arkansas. Day one of practice, it was nice, like mid 60s, no wind and rain, like a light drizzly rain. And it was nice, like it was just nice conditions. But first time on the lake ever, and you won't even believe this, but the first fish that clued me in on the kind of program that I ended up doing the entire tournament, I had these fish chasing baits, and the water temp was 49 degrees, 47, 49, somewhere in that range right away. And the first fish that I got to commit was a gall dang walleye. And I should say I should take that back, because I did catch some spots right away in the morning, but they were babies, and some stripers, babies. But that was over like 50 feet of water. But the first fish that I seen come up at a jerkbait after I switched colors was a freaking walleye. And I watched it come onto my live scope. I watched it come up. And I'm like, he's gonna hit it. And he hits it, and I'm like, oh my God, we got something figured out here. And I get it, and it's a walleye. But that clued me in on where these fish were positioned. So that was on like a drawn out point, right? So not a sharp point, just a drawn out point. And there was more than one, and there were bass mixed in too, but I elected to get out of that area. But I started looking at my mapping, and just picked another spot. I was like, well, this spot looks really close to what this does. And I went over there, and 2 minutes in, I watched one come up and crush it. And that was like a 3.5 pound largemouth. So then I'm like, this is okay. This can't be a fluke. There's something here. It was 14, 15 feet, 12 to 15 with weeds. And they were just coming out of the grass and just crushing this thing. So that first day, I started just jumping around to all these spots that look like it. And there's not a single boat around me. And keep in mind, there's 200 boats on the water right now pre-fishing. Not a single boat around. Oh, let me shut this off. And I picked another spot just like it, and the whole screen is lit up with fish. And I use that jerk bait, twitch it twice, and I get crushed again, another 3-pounder. I'm like, okay, well, looking back at all the results from the past 10 years, any results I could find, very hard to get information on this lake, it seemed. But 17, 18 pounds, like you're winning the tournament almost every time. And 14 or 15 pounds, you are in the top 10. Like usually the weight's dropped off real quick. So I'm feeling pretty dang good right now. And as long as no one was around me and it was the first day of practice, I went to any of these little high spots and I just smoked them. Like I had 15 pounds that first day and it was fun. Like it was, you could almost call your shot. So the next day, I never went back to these spots before the tournament either. So we get 4.5 days to pre-fish basically, which is too long really. But so in the first 4 hours, I got this program dialed in. I'm ready for the tournament to start the next day. The next day, actually the next few days of practice, I just decided I'm just going to elaborate on this program and make sure they're still sticking to it. But the weather isn't going to change drastically. The water temp's not going to drastically rise. So I'm like, these fish are not moving whatsoever. Like this is going to be locked in, right? Well, that is until you get 200 boats fishing the lake. That's supposed to be the biggest lake in Arkansas. But these guys are crazy, man. I mean, they're everywhere and they're smart and they figure stuff out. And I didn't notice these guys figuring this out until like the third day of practice. And then after that, there were guys on all these weed spots. And I mean, more power to them. They figured it out too. And they didn't learn it from me. So, but a lot of guys were doing the same exact things, throwing jerk baits and, using some twitch minnows and Damiki rigs and all kinds of different stuff, rattle traps and who knows. But they did, all of a sudden there are guys showing up on stuff like that. And I watched guys go into this area that I found them the first day. So I started seeing more and more guys. But I found a lot more spots too. And that was my plus. I had all these different spots because I figured it out the first day and kept elaborating on it. And this lake has a series of really clear water. And then you have 2 rivers coming in and the water is like completely different. Like it's mud. And I tried, because that one day when it was sunny, I think it was the third day of practice, it got sunny and I caught 2 good ones in different spots in like 10 minutes. But after that sun came up, the fish like disappeared. Like I didn't have crap the rest of the day until the afternoon. But the ones I caught right away in the morning, I mean, were over 3 pounds. So I thought that tournament, the first day of the tournament was going to be bright sunny, and I was worried that bite was going to shut off. So I tried to find some fish in the dirty water, and I just couldn't put it together. I had no bites at all in the dirty water, and tried throwing cranks and dragging some jigs and just no bites. So I threw that out the window and I said, I'm either gonna do great in this clear water or I'm not. And first day of the tournament, I had a co-angler the first day and not the second day. And the co-angler weighs their own fish. So whatever they catch, they weigh. They're against other co-anglers in the tournament, which is I wish the way at the walleye world was like that too. But so the first day of the tournament, I go out to the first spot that I caught 2 3-pounders 2 days before that. Not a boat around, which is hard to believe, and no fish, nothing there. So the next spot's only not far, 5 minutes away. So we run to the next spot, and I put the trolling motor down, and there's fish everywhere. And there's guys 200 yards this way, 200 yards that way, 300 yards that, there's guys all around, but they're not in this area. So first cast, catch one, a little baby one, the smallest one I've caught all week, but it was a keeper. So in the box, second cast, I think I caught another one, and I'm just seeing them all over my live scope. Like I told my co-angler, I'm like, we're gonna smash them today. And I caught them too, and the fish like disappeared. Like, I don't even know what the heck happened, but I kept going down the weed line, and this was a special place because it wasn't really a point that these fish were on like the other spots, but it was a weed edge with turns on it, and the fish were on these turns, and yeah, I don't know if people just overlooked it or what, but all these guys gave me my space too, which was awesome. So I worked on this whole edge, didn't catch anything. I said, okay, I'm gonna go run to these other spots that I caught on the first day. There's people everywhere. Never caught, oh, I did catch one. I caught one, I think I caught one keeper on one of the spots. And now it's like 11:30, I would say, maybe even noon. And I said, we got to go back to that other spot. And we get there, and there's not a lot there, but I seen one big school of look like really good ones, and I cast in there and catch a 3.5, something like that. And I'm taking it off, and my co-angler casts in and catches a 6-pounder, and 6'1" to be exact, which ended up being the biggest fish of his life, biggest bass of his life. So good for him. Just bad luck by me. And I watched 2 of them come up at my jerkbait, and one of them grabbed it, and the other one, who knows how big the other one was, but there was a school of big ones. A little bit later, I caught another 3, and then I caught a 4.5. And now I had a limit of fish. So I was feeling good, because I'm like, I haven't seen anybody else catch them, and I have a problem where I don't watch people. So that's why I don't see people catch them, because they really caught them that day, and I didn't expect that. So I had 12.5 pounds the first day, and I thought, if I can get 10 pounds with the conditions that we had the first day, it was flat, calm, upper 60s it ended up being. It was a beautiful day. And I thought, well, the next day is going to be cloudy and rainy and warm yet. Just like the first day of practice, I'm going to smash them. You know, I figured after he caught that 6-pounder, I had a 4-pounder. I'm thinking I can get 20 pounds here for sure and come back, you know. But these fish they were very stingy. Like, you could tell these fish were getting pressure. And it's making them eat this jerkbait was crazy. That 4.5 I caught the first day, I mean, I cast it out. I can cast, you know, 100 feet or so, and you can see them at 100 feet. But when they come up, if they don't bite it, you have to figure out the cadence that these fish want. And if you don't finish, you have like 2 seconds to do this, because if they don't like what they see, the big ones are gone. The little ones, you might get them to come back up and eat, but the big ones, you get one shot and that's it. So if you twitch that jerkbait wrong, I mean, it's like trying to figure out what your wife wants for dinner. That's what it's like. And if you figure it out and catch her, well, that doesn't mean that her best friend, the next fish, her best friend, is going to eat the same thing. So maybe her best friend wants chicken and lobster. I don't know, but you gotta equate what that means. Is it a twitch, 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 pause, or a single twitch, or what is it? And you get one shot to do that, or they're gone. So that one 4.5 I caught, she followed it all the way back to the boat, like 30 feet away from the boat. She finally bit, and I ended up catching her. But that was like a single twitch, and I'd watch how she reacted, and then she'd finally grabbed it when I was sitting still. And, you know, you got to know how long to leave that thing pause. And boy, if they all acted the same, it'd be easy, but they don't. So the little guys, the teenagers that want to eat everything out of your cupboards, and cost you a ton of money, you know, you got a chance with them, because they'll come up and look at it. And if they don't like it, they'll swim down, but then they'll come back up, and then they might go down. Then their buddy might come in and they might look at it, and then you just one twitch and you got it, you know. So very tough bite, but they wouldn't hit anything else. I caught one on a spinnerbait during practice, and my co-angler actually caught that one on a chatterbait, but it hit it on the drop. So he must have just dropped it right on its head, and it just, you know. But crazy how picky these fish were, and it's all because of the pressure. It's all because 200 boats running around for 4.5 days, and these fish are not stupid, you know, and especially in the clear water. If it was a little bit dirtier, it would have been a different story for sure. Day 2, Uh, Perfect conditions. I was fishing alone. I enjoy that, I guess. I like fishing. I don't mind a co-angler. I mean, we actually have a pretty damn good time, but I do like fishing alone. I'm just a loner, I guess. But I'm thinking I'm going to smash them, and I get to the first spot, and I went to the good first spot right away, and there's fish everywhere again. First cast, I catch one. And then I catch another one, but it's short. And the first one was a dink, like a pound and a quarter, like so disappointing. And then I go a little further and catch another one. And then these fish did the same exact thing they did the first day. They're just completely disappeared. And I thought they'd just stay there with the cloud cover. It wasn't wind, it was windier, but it wasn't crazy windy. And I really had to work for them that day. And I ended up jumping around to a bunch of different spots. And I ended up catching, I caught like 15 legals that day. And I mean, I knew I needed 15 pounds for sure and I actually ended up not needing that much, but I ended up weighing 10, 15, and I only had 2 good ones that day that were over 3. And the other 3 were dinks that I weighed. And I just could not get them other bigger bites. And I had a few that came up and looked, but not like the first day. They were way more active the first day, and I just couldn't get them to bite the first day though, as good. So didn't work out great. I ended up in 69th place, which is definitely better than Okeechobee. But if somebody would have bet me before the tournament, I would have told them I'm either going to do for sure get a check, could be a top 10, or I could win this thing. And I'm that guy that just doesn't go back and beat up fish because there's only so many fish. You hook them, the odds of them biting the next day with these bass in the cold water, probably not very good. So, but it is what it is. It was a fun tournament, disappointing tournament. But I'm learning a ton, and I think I got a different way to figure this out for the rest of the year, as far as competition goes, because the competition here is crazy steep. Like, it ain't like the walleye side. You got your trollers that's all they're going to do is troll, and then you got your shallow water guys or your forward facing sonar guys that are going to throw jigs or whatever they want to do, but fish aggressively at individual fish. And here you have every single person knows what to do. Like, they all fish the same, or they all can fish the same, right? They can all throw jigs, they can all throw Damiki rigs, they can all throw jerk baits. So you don't have a separate half of trollers and a separate half of jiggers. Like, it's all combined. And now you got 200 boats that are all competing at pretty much the highest level of bass fishing. Like, the competition in this thing it's crazy. And I haven't caught them. Like, I'm going to, but it's just, I got to do my job too, but I can't do that if all the fish that I'm chasing have been abused the whole week before. So I've got some plans. Gonna dial it in for the next one. So let me just show you this. So here's what I elected to do on this tournament. I threw my jerkbait on a spinning rod, and I did it because I was watching the wind forecast and they were calling for some wind, and I needed to be able to chuck this thing out as far as possible. And I didn't want to mess around with a baitcaster and have issues with backlash or anything like that, because I cannot cast into the wind with a baitcaster and not get backlash. So I put this on, and this is I tried different rods, and this thing worked sweet. This is a St. Croix 610 Legend Tournament. It's a medium light, so it's actually, if you read that, it's a drop shot finesse rod. And this thing worked phenomenal. Like, I didn't lose a single fish that got off. I missed some fish, but I didn't lose any fish. The end of this thing is really, I mean, it's extra fast. Maybe a fast action would be a little better, but this worked awesome. It gave the bait great action. Threw it on 10-pound test braid. This is Sunline, I think it's called Sunline Sage or something, with a 10 or 12-pound leader. And then I had a mega bass on here, but that was the deal. And that was my best bait. It was this kind of a pearl white color, but I didn't lose a single bait. Like, that was legit. Caught some big stripers that I had to change hooks on. Caught the biggest striper of my life. Caught the biggest crappie of my life. Caught the biggest bass of my life on Okeechobee. Off to a good start that way. But that works. That setup worked great. So the next stop, I have South Carolina, Santee Cooper, stump and tree heaven. There are trees everywhere. It's actually scary. So I did stop in there when I did that other video, and I didn't learn too much. The weather was ridiculously crazy, 3 and 4 footers on the lake. So I stuck to a little area. I guess I maybe I found some stuff. We'll see. But gonna try some different avenues here. I gotta work my way back up to get my points up for sure. So I need like quite a few top 10s here the rest of the season, but I usually do best towards the end of the year. So stay tuned for that, and I'll try to keep up on the videos. It's been a crazy 25 or 26 days. Luckily I got good employees and a kick-ass wife that takes care of things, and I don't have to worry about stuff. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.